observations of what happened from the time you arrived until the time the EMS took the victim out of the apartment?
Yes, sir.
I want to take you back to approximately timestamp 120. And this item that the mouse is pointing to, do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what was that?
It was the holster to a firearm.
And
I'm
play any role in trying to make sure you don't contaminate the crime scene?
Yes.
And what's that?
That I don't get any of my DNA onto the crime scene.
With this, at some point, were you informed that individuals had gone off the back porch of the
Yes.
apartment? And did you search the area of the back porch?
I canvassed, yes.
Okay. And by that, what I mean is like the yard and such. Did you walk through any portion of that?
Yes,
And did you find anything back there?
I did.
And what was that?
I found a purse and a wallet that was laying on the ground directly below the balcony.
And was that also recorded on your body cam?
Yes,
And were you among the first officers to look in that area, if not the first?
I believe so, yes.
And so what's on your body cam, is that how to the best of your knowledge, is that how the purse was laying after the incident prior to any police involvement?
Yes.
This time, state would move to play, or correction, number 86, Your Honor. Does that recording accurately reflect when you found the purse and the wallet?
Yes.
I have just one moment, Your Honor.
sure.
Um, Sergeant Farr, when you first arrived, just to go back on one step, on the couch itself, closer to the door, closer to the side towards the door, the back couch cushions, if you remember in your video in the living room, there were a couple holes in the cushion. Do you remember those?
Yes.
And what did they look like to you?
They appear to be bullet holes.
And was that also reflected on your body cam?
Yes.
And at that time, did you try to determine if they in fact were, or did you just leave that for somebody else to determine?
I believe I left it.
Okay, so is that was for if in further investigation it
Correct.
needed? Okay. Nothing further at this time.
Mr. Nixon, cross-examination.
Sergeant Favre, you stated that to the state today, you stated that the holes in the couch appeared to be bullet holes, correct?
Correct.
Are you familiar with discharging a firearm and how hot a bullet can, how hot a shell casing could be once it's ejected from a gun after discharging it, correct?
Yes.
Are you for sure that it looked like bullet holes?
In my opinion, it looked like bullet holes. Yes.
Okay. Hindsight in looking at it, could it have been burn holes from the actual shell casings?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
If the gun ejected a bullet and it was hot and it landed on that fabric, could it have been a hole from the actual casing of the bullet?
I do not know. Like I said, in my opinion, it appeared to be bullet holes.
Okay. And where were those bullet holes located?
On the back of the couch cushion on the back.
So on the where your back would be, basically where the head and the back would be.
Yes.
Correct. Were there any bullet holes found under the victim?
I do not recall.
You stated that you were one of the first on scene,
Yes, sir.
and you stated today that you were also one of the first to observe the purse being in the backyard.
Yes, sir.
Had anyone else been back there? So to not cross-contaminate the scene, correct?
There are numerous reasons too, but yes, that is one of them.
Could you explain one more time for the court what those reasons would be?
Yeah, a couple of the reasons we don't want to cross-contaminate the scene. Our job is scene security and then scene preservation for evidence, as well as when we're dealing with the shooting, we're dealing with bodily fluids, and we use those to protect ourselves as well. So I don't get any bodily fluids on myself if I go to render first aid.
Okay. So you have no knowledge of anyone actually touching that purse besides yourself?
Not that I know of, no.
And if someone touched the purse without a glove on, that's considered cross-contamination, correct? As far as a officer, if an officer touched the purse during that time without any gloves on, that would be considered cross-contamination, right?
They would get their DNA onto it.
Pardon me?
They would get their DNA onto it if they touched it without gloves, yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I have a video clip I would like to play. If I could have time to find it.
Sure.
Like, It'll be on the one that's in there. Yeah. But I had wrote it down. Yeah.
Did you plug the click share in?
We will. I'm just trying to find the videos too. We have it here. So we ready.
Your Honor, may I have a break if possible to find this clip?
We're good. Just, I'm in no rush.
Okay. Thank you.
Is it a specific officer?
Yes, ma'am, but I do not know.
Well, do you know, was it
Um,
one, somebody that's already testified?
Yes.
Do you know which one?
No, they weren't labeled as they are.
No, do you know who testified in court? Officer Smith?
No, he is.
That's the different one. Okay, hold on. Officer Oles?
No, ma'am. So I don't believe they did testify, 'cause I don't know who it was. Your Honor, I need more time to find the video. Sergeant Favre, so you have no recollection of any officer touching the purse without gloves?
I do not.
And if they had touched the purse without gloves, they would have had to report it, correct?
Can you rephrase the question? Or
If one of the officers had touched the person on scene without gloves, they would have had to report it?
they should have told someone yes,
Okay,
if that's what you were.
yes. I don't have any further questions at this time.
All right, thank you. You may step down. Or any redirect, sorry, excuse me.
No.
You may step down. Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you very much.
Call your next witness. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Go ahead and be seated. Keep your voice up. Speak into the microphone, please.
Good morning, Detective Hornacek.
Good morning.
Will you please state your first and last name, spelling your last name for the record?
Edward Michael Hornacek, Hornacek.
Where are you employed, Detective Hornacek?
City of Akron Police Department.
Why are you
long-
talking so quiet?
Because I'm gonna cough. How long have you been employed with the City of Akron Police Department?
22 years.
What division are you in?
I'm in the Detective Bureau on midnights for persons crimes against persons or felonies and violent crimes,
Okay. And what type of crimes are in the Crimes Against Persons unit?
murders, felonious assaults, rapes, robberies
How long have you been in that unit?
since 2017.
Prior to that, where were you?
I worked patrol.
What type of training or education do you have to be an officer?
I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Tiffin University, a 6-month police academy through the City of Akron Police Department, and ongoing education as well, and through the State of Ohio Attorney General's Office, Master Criminal Investigator certificate as well.
Did you get that as part of your training in the Persons Detective Bureau?
Yes.
Now, before I get into what happened on July 25th, I would like to talk about how does a detective get involved in the case?
We normally work out of our office, so we monitor the radio for calls that are going out. We also have computers, laptops at our desks where we can monitor dispatched calls and what's going on out in the streets. Our procedures are for whenever there is a felony that patrol reports that to the Detective Bureau by calling into our office to determine if we're going to go out on scene.
How do you all decide who goes out?
It's all circumstantial based on the severity of the crime and how many witnesses, victims, and suspects are on scene. So it's usually all hands on deck if there's several people out there. If it's something to where there's just a victim, then we'll just 1 or 2 detectives.
Okay, and I noticed that you're testifying in a suit and tie while other officers came in uniform. Do detectives wear uniforms?
Not in the person's Detective Bureau, no.
Okay. On July the 25th of 2022, did you get called out to the scene?
Yes.
From the Detective Bureau, do you remember who all went out?
Myself, Detective McConnell, and Detective Taylor, and I believe Detective Keith Williams.
Okay. Will you please tell the court what you saw or heard when you got to the scene?
We had already been notified that someone was shot, critical, and in opinion going to pass. On the way there, that person, Tony Westover, she did pass. So we went there, the crime scene tape was already set up. Got a rundown from several of the officers that were on scene of the 2 witnesses that remained on scene, and what they had observed in the house, in the backyard of the house behind the patio, as well as the video that they spoke to a resident in that same complex about.
Okay, you talked about a couple things. You said when you got there, you got briefed. Is that typical that when you get to a scene, a patrol officer or someone on scene will brief you?
Yes.
Okay, and then you were here and heard Detective Sinsley talk about the time it takes SWAT to get to the scene. Approximately how much time does it take a detective to get to a scene?
That's another thing that's circumstantial based on if we're on another call as well, or how much time it takes for the patrolmen or their supervisors to call us and let us know what's going on to determine if we need to be on scene or what scene we need to be on, because sometimes the dispatched call location isn't where we need to show up first. Sometimes it's a hospital. So once we get that all determined, that's when we make our way to the scene. So there's no time frame. We just try to get out there as quick as we can.
Will you please tell the court what you did once you got on scene?
Once got on scene, noticed it was a 4-unit brick apartment building. They said that the incident occurred upstairs on the top level. Once we went up there, kind of checked out the scene after we were briefed on what happened, notified the crime scene unit for collection of evidence. Detective McConnell and Detective Taylor had interviewed the 2 witnesses that remained on scene to gather information to what we need to look for on scene, what transcribed, what took place, so we know what we're looking for.
Okay. Approximately how long did you stay on scene?
Maybe an hour or 2. I can't say. I'm not sure.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Did you do anything? Did you perform any other duties or do anything else while you were on scene that night?
Most of the time I was there, I was asking officers about things that they have observed, and then consulting with Detective McConnell and Detective Taylor on what went on in the 2 interviews with Angel McLean and Chip Ron Crew, and what they had observed, just what part they took, what role they took in this incident.
Okay. And there were multiple people on this scene, and I heard you use a couple names, Detective McConnell, Detective Taylor, and then you. So it was more than one detective that responded to the scene?
Yes, there were 4 of us.
Okay. Who's the last one? I don't think I said that.
Detective Keith Williams.
That's right, Detective Keith Williams. I apologize. Will you please tell the court about the investigation that followed?
So the investigation that followed at that point, the officers first spoke with Angel and Ron, and they had gathered some names. And when they gathered those names, I started looking those names up and calling our office to see where some addresses might be, names, date of births, possible locations where those people could be. Once I gathered those, I gathered the information and kind of put it together after Detective McConnell and Detective Taylor interviewed Ron and Angel to see if those matched up with their second statement, being that they already gave a statement to patrol. Now they're giving a statement to the detectives. So seems like everything was staying consistent. So that was my role in trying to get that information to find out where the names that were given to us were Brian Fielders, Quinton Nixon, and Adam Wright. So those are the 3 names that I was tasked with finding out the information.
Were you able to find out the information for any of those individuals and subsequently interview?
Yes, all 3.
Okay, well, let's talk about Brian Fielders. Were you able to interview him, and when did that occur?
So the only two people that remained on scene for this incident, obviously the victim, Tony Westover, and then the two residents of the apartment, which was Ron Crew and Angel McLean. So those are the only people that remained on scene. Everybody else fled the scene. 2 days later, after the incident occurred, Brian Fielders called and asked to speak to the lead detective, which was me. I interviewed him over the phone that day. As far as how the interviews went after that, I re-interviewed him later on in August. I believe maybe August 27th is when I interviewed him in person.
That's correct.
He had a parole violation. So I had him brought over from the Summit County Jail upon arrest to do a full interview with him in the Detective Bureau. As far as Adam Wright goes, we don't know if we heard that he might like go to a different state like North Carolina. So I made some phone calls to try to find addresses. We couldn't find anything. I did not interview him until he was arrested and he was in the penitentiary. And I believe your office at the Summit County Prosecutor's Office, the investigators found and located him and had him transported late in September for an interview. And I interviewed him at the Akron Police Department as well.
Okay. And in the interim, was an individual by the name of Ashley Broughton interviewed?
Ashley Broughton also came in on July 27th, 2 days later, for an interview, and I interviewed her in the Detective Bureau as well.
Now, at this time, not July 27th, let's go back. The last interview we talked about was Ashley. At that time, you had not spoken to Quinton Nixon. Is that fair?
That's correct.
Okay. At some point in time, did the Detective Bureau or the police department get any information regarding his possible whereabouts?
Yes.
And how did that come about?
So first, so in chronological order to answer that question, I had a meeting with a supervising prosecutor to sign charges for murder, and he authorized charges to sign charges on Quinton Nixon for murder. So that was on August 4th. So after August 4th, I notified the task force, Northeast Ohio Violent Fugitive Task Force, to search for him. Normally they find people through cell phone locations, but being that Quinton left his cell phone on scene, we weren't able to find him. So we didn't find him for a whole month after the murder happened. We got a phone call to the Detective Bureau desk, and Detective Stan Davis spoke with an anonymous caller who said that someone that was wanted for murder was in the 500 block on Gridley inside of the house. And they had told us that that person had shaved their head and painted their face white. So Stan Davis notified dispatch, and officers arrived on scene over at that 500 block of Gridley. I think it was 525.
That is correct. And that was August the 24th?
That was August 24th, somewhere around 10 p.m.
Okay. Well, the 23rd.
Basis.
The statement he made about me painting my face is hearsay. There's no proof of that.
Overruled. Okay. It's overruled. Go ahead.
I believe was it August the 23rd to the 24th or the 24th to the 25th?
I believe it would have been the 24th if it was 10 p.m.
Okay, that's fine. And you were in here and heard multiple detectives, Nicholas Smith and Lieutenant Sinsley talk about the arrest that occurred on August the 24th?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what happened after the defendant was arrested?
After the defendant was arrested?
Correct.
So after the defendant was arrested, I requested that he be taken to the detective bureau for an interview based on his murder warrant and the investigation.
Okay. Now, how did you know that had occurred? Are you, at this point in time, were you considered the case detective?
We determined that later on. We all worked together and then determine it later on based on our case log and who's available to do more work on the case at the beginning.
How were you notified, or how did you know he had gotten arrested?
So Captain Yowie, who was the commander of the SWAT team, notified me that we needed to get a search warrant for officers to actually make entry inside of the house. So Detective McConnell contacted a police legal advisor and had them type up a search warrant. Detective McConnell took that to a judge at 1:20 a.m. and had that signed, and then notified Captain Yowie that the search warrant was signed by a judge. And then that is when SWAT made entry at 1:25. And then they let dispatch know that they had made an apprehension in the attic at 1:40 a.m. So after they had made the apprehension, I was monitoring the radio and listening to the radio, so I knew where I needed to be and what were the next steps that needed to be taken.
Was he brought down to the station for an interview?
Yes,
Was he in fact interviewed?
yes.
Who all was present for that interview?
Myself and Detective McConnell
Where did that interview take place?
on the 6th floor of the Akron Police Department in the Detective Bureau.
Okay. And what was the defendant's appearance, demeanor during the interview?
He did not have a shirt on. His head was shaved, face was shaved. He appeared to be scratching a lot. From what I had heard, he was in a crawl space and where there was fiberglass insulation. So I assumed it was either that or the gas munitions that were deployed during the SWAT. I would say about an hour.
Were you present for the whole interview?
Yes.
During that interview, did the defendant's statement, were there any discrepancies in the defendant's statements?
Yes, it was a roller coaster interview. It went back and forth several times.
Was there a point where you noticed the discrepancies?
Yes.
His statements had changed?
Yes.
Please tell the court about that.
So during the course of the interview, things were going back and forth, and we were trying to get the truth of the matter. And in doing so, I told Quinton Nixon that we have video of the incident. And at that point, that is when the storyline changed.
Okay. You didn't tell him whether it was video from the outside or inside of the apartment, did you?
No,
Okay, so he had no idea at that point in time.
not to
best
my
of your
knowledge.
Okay, and what were, prior to you saying that, did the defendant make any statements about carrying a gun out of the apartment?
Yes,
And did he say he carried a gun out of the apartment?
yes,
Now, after he told you he carried prior to that, did he state he had a gun?
I apologize. When you say prior to that, do you mean prior to me telling him that we have video?
Correct.
Okay, no. After we told him that we had video, he told us that he carried the gun and the purse out of the apartment building.
Okay. And well, you know what? Have you had a chance to review that video?
Yes,
And does that video fairly and accurately represent the interview you had with the defendant on July 25th?
yes, it
I'm
does.
sorry, first of all, it wasn't July 25th. It was August 24th. I'm going to play you, Your Honor, what's been marked. As State's Exhibit 87.
Objection, Your Honor.
Basis?
Uh, my, from what he said, my statement is inconsistent, is considered hearsay.
Overruled.
Say when.
Here, let me get on that side. I have States Exhibit 87 up. And as you can see, it's a dark room. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
At approximately 3 minutes and 6 seconds, you enter the room. Is that you?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll use this room. You didn't start it, did you?
And for the record, approximately 3:27, you go out. Two things before I sit down, Your Honor. Can you hear it? Well, okay.
I believe when it happens, it should be at that time, yes.
You want to, we'll get on the cup here. Get a cup to do.
Stick your left hand out.
Yeah.
You need to turn that up.
Yeah.
I can barely move. I just told you.
Quinton.
Quinton.
What's your last name?
Nixon, Nixon.
Is that?
No, I'm hot. I mean, I'm cold. I like the shirt. Thank you, though. I'm cold.
Yeah, we're just.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, it's fine. Great. What's that? Hey, Quinton, I'm Detective McConnell, Detective Hornacek. You doing all right, bud? You need a napkin or something? You want water? You want water or something?
Yes, please.
All right, sir. First name is Quinton.
Yes, sir.
How do you spell your first name?
Quinton.
And your last name is Nixon.
Yes, sir.
Nixon.
Yes, sir.
What's your birthday, sir?
July 18, 1991.
Do you have a permanent address?
Holy.
You normally stick around the Akron area? Okay.
I have kids there.
You have kids here? Okay. You have a phone number?
No, sir.
No phone?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, Mr. Nixon, I want to talk to you about what you're up here for, but before we do that, obviously, we have to read your Miranda warnings. So once we read this, just say yes or no whether you understand, all right? The right to remain silent, do you understand that? Sure. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, do you understand that?
Yes.
The right to talk to a lawyer to have him or her present with you while you're being questioned, do you understand that?
Yes.
You cannot afford to hire a lawyer who will be appointed to represent you before any question that you wish. Understand that? You can decide to answer these, you can decide to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand that?
Yes.
How do you spell your last name?
Nixon, N-I-X-O-N.
What's your birthday?
July 18th,
What year?
1991.
And what's your address?
I'm homeless. I was living with my mom.
Is that in Akron here?
Yeah, she used to live at 787 Willow Street Drive.
787 East One?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a phone number in there?
No, sir.
You on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that?
Yes, sir, but I've been locked out of it for a long time now.
You have any idea why you're up here?
Yeah.
You do? Why are you up here?
I really don't. I don't know. My head is hurting. I just passed my shit.
You remember being at Angel's house a couple weeks ago?
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah. You know what we're talking about. You want to tell us what happened? What happened at Angel's house?
They tried to kill me.
Who-
I don't know. I don't know who these people are. For real, I don't really know them like that.
So why don't you walk us through how they tried to kill you?
I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know why. Whatever happened, I don't know.
So
I was just there to help Angela look for her car. That was it.
look for her car.
Yeah, her supposedly her car and her boyfriend's car.
Like she lost it or someone stole it or what?
Someone had stole it.
So you went over there to help her look for her car?
Yes,
Did you guys find it? And then what happened?
and they called for more help to look for her car. I guess I don't know if this was what it was about. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'm supposed to be telling y'all what happened. I don't know. I'm scared. Like, I'm scared for my life. Yeah.
You're scared of Angel?
Mm.
Angel's people?
Man, I don't know if they hurt people either. I don't know.
So you were over there looking for the car, you didn't find it, you called for more people, and those are the people that showed up? You know any of those people? So what happened when they showed up?
And I started talking weird.
They started talking weird?
Yeah. As if I had did something or somebody in the room that had did something. Like they were insinuating that I was talking too much. Like I knew too much about something. I don't know what it was.
Who,
Like I want to tell you, I really don't. I just what really happened.
Now what?
To explain what really happened.
Just use your own words.
How you felt, what you felt was going on.
I thought like they were there to kill me. I didn't have a gun. I didn't have any weapon. They brought all the weapons.
Okay.
They were rolling out plastic and shit, and some dude came from the back with a fucking machete. I don't know. It felt like they were about to kill me.
So you felt threatened.
Yes, sir.
What happened?
I had two guns trained on me.
Who had the guns? I mean,
There was a woman, there was a dude, and there was another dude, and another dude, and another dude.
who had the guns? You said there were two of them? Who were the two people with the guns? You know what they look like? Did the guys have guns, or did she have a gun,
He had her gun.
or who had her gun?
All I know is like, should I have a lawyer? Like, I don't know whether I'm what the. I don't, I feel like they got people everywhere.
The Angels people?
The Hells Angels.
Is Angel part of the Hells Angels?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
So that night, these people, two people had guns on you. What happened? Were you guys inside the apartment? Like in that front room? And the people that had the guns on you, they were in that room as well? What'd you do when they pulled the guns on you?
I tried to stay as calm as possible.
Kids start fighting?
He hit my face.
He put it in your face?
Where you fight at?
So was this the same guy with one of the guns? You knew who he was, his name ran?
Dude, I'm scared as hell, man. I got 3 dogs on. Mm-hmm. This shit felt like I'm snitching.
You're not snitching, you're trying to help yourself. You're telling us your story as to what happened.
It was self-defense.
So the guy was biting you in the face?
He threatened me and told me that if I didn't, that he had kids, that he was gonna, he had kids, and he was gonna go home and see his kids, but I wasn't. Something like that nature. And I knew too much about something. Which I don't know anything about.
So he pointed a gun at you, he was threatening you, you said you knew too much about something. And then
He wasn't pointing the gun. The other dude over here had his gun trained on me, but he said it was by the couch, so I couldn't see him when he had it turned towards me.
And which one was the guy that hit you?
The other one that came in with the gun and the girl.
So the guy came in with a girl,
Mm-hmm. But he had came in first. She wasn't there at first. Maybe she was like in the car on the phone or something. I don't know. It all felt eerie and weird. It was a setup. I wasn't there to do nothing but help her look for the fucking car.
so this guy walks in, the one guy had a gun on you. This guy walks in and the girl walks in, they don't have a gun. The guy that walks in doesn't have a gun, he's the one that hit you in the face.
No, he had the girl.
He had the girl, so the girl had a gun.
The girl had a gun, but I didn't know it was her gun. He had.
Did he take it from her or how?
He had brought it in with him and laid it on the table.
Well, how do you know that she had a gun?
Because when I grabbed the gun, he said, "That's her gun."
So he laid it on the table. And you grabbed it. Why'd you grab it?
Because
So he walks in, he puts the gun down, you grab it, because that other dude has a gun, pointing at you. Right?
it is in a way, but that's not everything that happened. There was so much more. So much. I was there for like 4 days, 4 or 5 days. I felt like I couldn't leave. I didn't text my mom, and I told her, "I'm trying to make sure I'm safe, Mom. I'm trying to make sure we're safe." Oh, no.
Did you tell him you were trying to grab it because you wanted to get out of there, or what did you say when he said it was the girl's gun?
I didn't say anything.
You want some of this water, bud?
I'm sorry. I'm not fine. I'm not fine. I got pictures of what they did to me. They were gonna kill me.
So this guy has a gun pointed at you. This other guy walks in, puts the gun down, you grab it, and then what happens?
I don't think I'm making this clear. Like, because I'm still in the days about it, all this shit about just beating my head in the house. There's so much that happened in the Antilles. And I felt like I couldn't leave. I really couldn't leave. I tried to leave. My uncle was there.
Who's your uncle?
Brent.
Rick Nichols?
Brent.
Brent Nichols.
Yeah.
Was he there when they were?
Mm.
What's that?
Me.
So at what point did this guy, the guy that put the gun down on the table, was he the one that hit you in the face? When did that happen? Before you grabbed the gun, after you grabbed the gun? At what point did he bite you?
I don't know. All I know is they're beating me over the head. They had me on plastic. You think he tried to shoot me?
The same guy or the one that had the gun pointed at you?
Same guy.
Like before he put it on the table? Or after he put it on the table?
He was accusing me or the girl of recording. I don't know. It happened so fast. Like they were saying, like somebody was snitching and recording, and I gave him my phone to let him know I wasn't the police.
You said they had plastic, like you mean rolled out plastic? Like how much?
I don't know. It was like enough to kill me,
Okay.
wrap me up in.
They have it rolled out on the floor?
They started rolling it out.
Okay.
And then some dude came from the back with a hammer and a machete.
Okay. Did you know anybody in that house,
Besides Angel and
besides Angel and your uncle, anybody's names that you've met before? Or even if you don't know their names, have you ever met anyone before? Like Brian? Or Adam? Okay, so you're not snitching, we're just talking about only the facts about what happened. And the people that were there when it happened.
I don't know if my uncle owed them money or what. Like I said, I was just scared to fucking help her. I recall. Because that's what she called me for. That's what she's been calling me for.
So did you guys start fighting after you grabbed the gun? That one was still baby?
You know, we were sitting there having this long ass conversation about life and death and all this other shit. It's freaking me out. Like I said, about how he was gonna go home to see his kids and I wasn't. I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. All types of weird shit.
So what happened after you grabbed the gun? That when the fight started with the tussle and he bit you in the face. So are you trying to say that you guys were wrestling? Like, was he trying to get the gun back from you?
I believe so.
That's what I
Yeah, I
assume.
believe so.
Okay. So you guys are tussling over the gun, he
Yeah,
bites
yeah.
you in the face.
Yeah, and I don't know if he asked him to get Adam's gun or what, but he had it to my face. He said, "Oh, fucking over here."
So who ended up with the gun?
Adam had both guns.
Okay, so you're saying Adam ended up with both guns. And then what happened? Did everybody stay there? Did people leave? Did something more happen?
So we were having shots went off. That girl was hit. They ran.
Okay,
He tried to shoot me.
okay. And then what?
I ran.
Where'd you go?
Or
What'd you take with you?
I left my phone.
You left your phone? What kind of phone do you have? What color?
It was red.
Red iPhone?
Yes, sir. It was off.
Yeah.
I didn't call anybody. It was connected to Wi-Fi, but I felt like if I called somebody, I'm trying to make some kill me.
Yeah.
And they kept saying everything in the house was being recorded.
So Adam's the one that shot her? Who shot her?
Brian,
Brian shot her? So you didn't shoot her?
we were wrestling over the gun to get it back.
How did Adam get it?
Brian took it from me after he beat my ass and hit me in my face.
Did you ever have possession of the gun?
I grabbed it off the table.
And when you had possession of the gun, what happened?
Brian jumped up and raised at me.
So you never fired the gun? Did you ever point the gun at anyone?
So you're saying you had the gun, Brian lunged at you, somehow Brian got out of the way from you and shot that girl?
He kept saying she was the police. And she was snitching, she was recording something on her phone.
And then how did Adam end up with the guns?
Because he gave them Adam.
After he shot her, he gave them to Adam?
And they said they needed to get out of there, bro. He's like, yeah, get out of here, bro. And everybody was looking at me.
So Brian shot her because he thought she was the police. So they thought you were the police and she was the police? You were both the police. Did you know this girl though? You ever met her before that day?
Yes, sir.
Never saw her before that day. Did they think that you guys were the police together?
I don't know. I think I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I was about to be a casualty of whatever the fuck they had for him.
Brian and Adam.
It sounded like all of them were involved. Angel, like, it was weird. It was just weird. The shit they were talking about, the truck that my uncle had, how that truck belongs to a family member. I helped him put gas in it, and he just fucking gave it to them, and they were all shaking hands as if like, but they were leaving me out of the conversation. It was like they were using that truck as a getaway to get away from fucking doing whatever the fuck they're about to do. I didn't know. I kept trying to figure it out. I tried to leave. My uncle wouldn't really let me come. He was like, you know, you could have ride with this dude. I'm like, what are you doing with this truck? That's Auntie's truck. Why are you trying to sell it? What are you doing with the truck? Go take it back. He never took it back. He jumped in one of their cars and disappeared. That's weird.
So when we started talking, you said it was self-defense. What was self-defense?
Me defending myself and everything that happened, I didn't do anything wrong.
But if Brian shot her, what do you mean with self-defense if Brian shot her?
Because look at my face. I'm just saying, I was there. I put myself at the scene. The phone is there at the scene. I'm saying that.
But if Brian shot her, what do you mean by self-defense?
I was fighting. You trying to get out of there.
Because you didn't shoot her.
Right.
So what was the self-defense?
Me fighting him. Both of them. They hit me over the gun with the head. They tried to pull the trigger. They tried to kill me. Like, that's me defending myself, self-defense, to get the fuck out of there.
Why do you think you're here?
Somebody died.
But why do you think you're here, though?
Because they probably said I did it.
When you say they, how many people do you think? So?
Man, there were so many people, and it was like 4 girls in the bedroom. They all got quiet.
Yeah.
Angel was there. There was some other dude that was there that kept walking in and out.
Is he like an older dude with some tattoos?
There was a couple older dudes with tattoos.
Yeah.
And they were waiting on some other dude, like their head boss or something. For the final say, I don't know. It was
So you and Angel and Adam all grew up together?
no way. They're all older than me.
But I mean, you guys have known each other for a long time.
Not really. I met Angel through my uncle.
How long ago was that?
2 years ago.
Oh, that's
Two,
it.
2 years ago. Yeah, I met Adam 3 years ago. It wasn't at a mutual friend's house, Terry's house. So,
No, you're good. You started doing it. So,
I don't know these people.
So what cameras were you talking about? You said there's cameras in the house?
Yeah, they kept saying there was cameras in the house, there's cameras in the TV, there's cameras in, they were recording with AirPod, all types of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So what did you leave the house with after you left? Nothing? You left your phone there, but you didn't leave?
Oh no, I had my ID and stuff,
Okay.
and my jewelry.
How'd you leave?
I put
Which door?
the same door they were in.
Which one? Front door?
You know, they
The
were
decades?
the back door.
Back door?
Yes, sir.
because you said Adam had both guns, right?
Brian told me to grab both of them.
You didn't jump off that dog to the gun in your waist?
I had jewelry.
You gun.
We're only asking you to tell the truth because, like you said, there is cameras. And that's the reason that you're here. It's not about what anybody else said. That's why we're giving you the chance to tell us your version of the true story. That's why I'm asking you specific questions, just to see if you answer them honestly. Because you watched the video, and we know the truth already about that portion of it.
What, that they were there to kill me?
We watched everything. It's got audio and video. So we want to know from your point of view what happened, so we can compare notes. So this is your last chance to tell us. What are you thinking?
Like, if y'all seen the video, y'all would know.
We would, but we don't know what you're thinking though. Videos are videos, words are
We
words.
got words and audio, you would have seen it, they were there to hurt me.
Well, listen, we want to know your thoughts on what was going on and the truth about what happened when you left and what happened right before you left.
I ran past that dude with the hammer.
Okay. That's true. Ran past the dude with the hammer.
He was in that back bedroom on the right. So when you jumped off the balcony with that gun in your waist, where'd you take the gun?
It wasn't like that.
Whose was it?
Barney said it was hers.
So when you jumped off the balcony, the gun was in your waist. Where'd you take the gun? Were you holding it down when you were running, or was it still in your waist?
It was in my waist. I don't know. I was falling, sliding, slipping.
So where's that gun at now? Did you get rid of it, or is it in that house on Ridley? Where'd you get rid of it?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why would there be audio and video inside of that house? Were they being watched?
They're weird people, like you said. We're not saying you lied about that. That's why we have so many questions, because this isn't just a normal case where it's just cut and dry and everything's easy to explain. That's why we want to know someone that was on the inside, your perspective. You get what I'm saying? Because this isn't a regular crime scene. These are some strange people. So whatever you were thinking wasn't wrong. It is a strange situation. So I'm not doubting you, and I, for one, am not going to put any words in your mouth. I want the words to come from you, your heart, and your feelings. We like to let the people that were actually there, that actually felt what was going on, tell us what happened. Video and audio just tells you the TV show. It doesn't tell you what they were feeling.
I was feeling scared.
Yeah.
And I was feeling like I said something in the days of me being there that triggered them.
Yeah.
And they knew a lot of mutual people in the streets that I was beefing with.
Okay. So here's, as far as Tony's gun, the girl's gun,
I didn't know.
and that's fine. As far as her gun, when you grabbed the gun, was it in a holster? Do you remember that? Okay, so there was a holster. When you first noticed the gun, was it in her purse? It was not in her purse.
It was on Brian's hip. Brian
It's on
took
his
it off his hip.
Okay. What point did it get placed on the table? Because you said you grabbed it off the table
Yes, sir.
in the living room.
Brian kept saying something about it don't matter, like I was about to die. And he kept shaking his head, looking at Slim like this, doing this.
Slim's Adam. So when you grabbed that gun, Quinton, and you fired that round, were you trying to hit Brian?
I was trying to get away.
So were you trying to shoot Brian? You were? So you didn't mean to shoot him? that was an accident?
I don't know.
Is it an accident? Mike? So you're scared?
Gary kept saying, I was the police.
After it happened, did you just freak out? Just go out.
No, he beat me. He beat me. He beat me. He beat me.
After
He beat me.
you shot?
He beat me. He beat me. He
Is that
beat
when you got hit in the face?
me. He beat me. He tried to shoot me. He beat me.
Brian or
Adam was just standing there looking crazy like he wanted to shoot me. Waiting on Brian to say, I don't know. Then somebody yelled out, you fucking stupid, you're going to jail the rest of your life.
Is that when you got bit in the face?
I was in, all that happened afterwards.
Yeah.
But
where'd you take that gun from?
I ran. I ran.
Just through the neighborhood?
I ran so far.
Yeah.
I ran through the woods. I ran through houses, fields. I was running. I didn't know. I'm not from Akron. I didn't know where I was at. I just ran.
So we're definitely thankful that you've been truthful and honest about this whole situation, but the last thing that we need is we need to know where that gun's at. Is it back at the house?
So I didn't even live there.
You know you don't live there, but
Where'd you put it? Did you take it home with you? Did you get rid of it? Did you take it to your mom's?
I might have dropped it. I'm pretty sure I dropped it running.
When did you find out she died?
The first news. The first news story. They said Brian's been looking for me. So I'm scared to call police. I've done wrong before, and I've been punished by the police. And they scared me. Y'all scared me. I'm going to prison for the rest of my life.
Well, we're gonna be honest with you, like you're being honest with us. I mean, this lady died because you shot her. And what led up to that? I mean, that's what we'd kind of like to know more about. What you did after the fact. And with the gun, those types of things, those are the those are the things that the judges, the juries, they're gonna look at and say, oh, he cooperated, he was remorseful, he felt bad. We'd like to find this gun. We'd hate to have some kid running around playing in the woods and find this gun and do something bad out of it.
Is it in the house on Gridley?
No, sir.
Who lives at Gridley over there that you know?
Cousin, everything's incarcerated though.
We talked to Adam since this happened.
No, I've been looking for him.
Where's he at? Does he stay in Akron or is he?
No, he's been, I don't know. I really don't know these people. Like, I thought I knew him. Like, all this started because Adam said he was beefing with Brian about something he did, and then it seemed like it was all just a throw off to get me or something because they found out that I found out about the black book. And some gang stuff. I don't know if they're Hells Angels, I don't know if they're 81s, I don't know if they're Crips folks.
What else do you want to tell us, Quinton? Seems like you have something to say.
I'm just trying
Are you sorry? You sorry you did it? You upset about that? So you're scared? What's going through your mind?
the people they love.
Because of what happened to Tony, you think that they're gonna come through? What are you scared of?
My mom had to move from there because
Did you tell your mom everything?
I told her I was, before all of this happened, I was there. I told her I was there for like 5 days. I was supposed to go to work one day. It was, she called me, she picked me up, aimed me up from my mom's house. And I'm in the office.
So you told your mom you didn't do it?
I haven't even talked to my mom the first time I talked to her. No, it's the second time. Because
Why did you shave your head?
I'm scared.
Scared of getting caught?
I don't know payroll, all types of stuff.
Where'd you stay in the house so long for when the police showed up today?
Because I feel like they're going to kill me. I've been bit by a police dog in handcuffs. Kind of left me traumatized. I don't really trust the police.
When that happened?
For a lot of it, around town.
Do you know where Tony's purse is? girl's purse?
No, sir.
You never took it?
I grabbed it because I touched this vape thing that she had gave me,
What do you mean?
but I didn't take her purse. Her purse was still there
Where at?
in the backyard.
So why did you grab it because of the vape?
The vape thing, I had realized that I had touched the vape thing.
So what, you're afraid that fingerprints are on it or something?